Welcome to Soccer Morning on World Soccer Talk. Here's your host, Jason Davis.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome into Soccer Morning. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're ready to start your weekend. Hope you're not too down about the events in Zurich. Only because of what it means for the future of the international game, et cetera, and so forth. The world awaits the results of the 2015 FIFA presidential election. It looks like we got a couple of hours at least. They're just doing their own little thing in Zurich. Nobody really knows when all this stuff is going to happen. It just sort of happens. It's a bunch of old guys sitting around saying, should we vote? Okay, let's vote. Now, the most recent developments out of Zurich indicate that while Sunil Gulati, who has stated that U.S. soccer will back Prince Ali bin Al Hussein, says that it will be close. I still don't think that it's going to be an issue for Sepp Blatter. I believe he'll be reelected for a fifth term as FIFA president. A man who has no compunction about putting his name forth for another term and remaining in charge despite all of the indictments and arrests that have come down over the last 2 days. A man who deflects all blame for the corruption in FIFA by indicating that he simply can't watch everybody. I have his opening speech from the FIFA Congress that happened yesterday. It's 9 minutes. Well, we might not go through the whole 9 minutes. But it is, it's always funny to listen to Sepp weave his way in and out of the cones that are indictments and corruption and allegations of wrongdoing. And the man has an impeccable ability to put a shiny spin on everything. Part of the reason he remains in power. He's created a base of power based on the number of countries that are in his debt. I'm not sure if that's the right way to go with it. But he controls the African bloc for the most part. And he controls the Asian bloc for the most part. And those two blocks together get him nearly to the majority that he needs. There may be a couple of abstentions today. We'll see how the vote actually comes down. Again, U.S. Soccer, Sunil Gulati indicating that they will, in fact, vote for Prince Ali, that they have convinced Canada to do the same. Why Canada needed convincing, I'm not. Well, I kind of have an idea. But it's sad that Canada needed convincing. There are enough people in Zurich and enough reporters on the ground saying that high-ranking individuals in FIFA have indicated that Blatter is the choice to think that this is just going to come down with yet another term for Sepp Blatter. We do have quite a bit of time today to take your phone calls, get your thoughts, not on just on FIFA. Happy to take a turn left to right depending on where you want to go. We've got a bunch of things happening on the field this weekend. There's an MLS schedule to consider. There's an FA Cup to consider. I believe there is a Spanish Cup that will be handed out this weekend. Looking at the games to watch column by my buddy John Tannenwald at Philly.com. Got FC Dallas and Sporting Kansas City. That's tonight at 9 o'clock on Unibas. Arsenal Aston Villa tomorrow. That is the FA Cup final. It's on Fox proper, so don't go looking for Fox Sports. It's just on regular old Fox. Dortmund and Wolfsburg, because that's Jurgen Klopp's last game in charge at Dortmund. Athletic Bilbao, Barcelona. That is the Copa del Rey final. That's on ESPN2 at 3:30 Eastern. So another game easy to find. You have a World Cup warm-up match for the United States women happening on Saturday as well. Saturday at 4:30 on ESPN. The U.S. women, very focused. Not going to let all this FIFA stuff distract them, as they shouldn't. The Women's World Cup starting very soon and being overshadowed, which is a shame, a crime, to be honest with you. Now, I don't blame necessarily the FBI or the Department of Justice. You blame FIFA for creating a situation that led to the events of Wednesday and now overshadows the Women's World Cup starting in Canada very shortly. Got a couple of good MLS games on Sunday. Seattle and New York, 5 o'clock Eastern. New England and LA Galaxy at 7 o'clock Eastern. Oh, and look, Jonathan also includes the New York Cosmos traveling to Cuba. That's next Tuesday. So we'll talk about that next week. But he works a week in advance. So this is a game that is of interest. First U.S. sports team to visit Cuba since the sanctions were eased. Now, I believe that at least one baseball team has been to Cuba during the sanctions. But this will be a situation where the Cosmos are going after everything has been normalized between the U.S. and Cuba. So that's interesting. The U.S. U20s are getting ready to start their World Cup campaign at the U20 World Cup. I just said that, repeated myself. They obviously have the U23s in Toulon. They had a bad go of things against the French. They're going to continue on. We'll keep an eye on them as well. So, again, there are plenty of things happening on the field to draw your attention away from everything happening with FIFA. And to be honest with you, once this election is done today, whether it's Sepp Blatter or Prince Ali or whoever, give me one of those two, but whoever ends up winning, I think that'll be the end of it for a time. If Prince Ali wins, then that becomes much more of a story, and we may have a news cycle that covers that event and what happens to Sepp Blatter, et cetera, et cetera. But if Blatter wins and it's business as usual, I think everybody will mostly shrug their shoulders and move on, which is a sad commentary on the state of things. But we've been through this. We know who Sepp Blatter is. We know what he brings to the table. We know what he is. We know what he has wrought, for lack of a better way of saying it. Is the man ultimately corrupt himself? I don't know. There's no direct evidence of that yet. The DOJ did not indict him or arrest him. So until we see proof, it's hard to say the man's corrupt himself. But what we know is that he is at the head of an organization that is rotten to the core. That's what we know. So when those voters line up to put those ballots in, secret ballot, I think it's handwritten or some nonsense like that because, let's not use electronic devices and let's not show the results and be transparent about it. We'll do it secretly so people can get away with voting for the corrupt guy without being shamed for it. There goes FIFA. But what we got is a situation where either Sepp Blatter knows what's going on and is therefore incompetent, or he doesn't know what's going on and is therefore an idiot. Either way, he shouldn't have the job. But that's not the way FIFA works. Certainly not. Certainly the way that Sepp Blatter's created his collection of sycophants to be cruel about it. It's not going to change. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, again, the show is yours. I'll open up the phone line, 646-832-3909. Get ready to hit send and talk to me. Friday on Soccer Morning. Be right back.
Face in the crowd. You're talking too loud, but I can't hear you calling.
If you're like me and you're wondering where to watch all of the Copa America games this June and July, I've got the answer for you. It's called Fubo TV. Fubo TV is a legal and affordable streaming service that delivers live and on-demand HD broadcasts of BN Sports, Goal TV, Benfica TV, and more. That means you can watch Copa America, Barca TV, Real Madrid TV, Serie A, and other great leagues from around the world. With Fubo TV, the broadcasts stream to your computer, smartphone, tablet, Roku, or Amazon Fire TV. Plus, Fubo TV works with Chromecast, so you can cast the games to your TV set. Soccer Morning listeners, I want to invite you to sign up today for a free trial to Fubo TV. And if you love what you see, a monthly subscription to Fubo TV is only $6.99 per month. So sign up at fubo.tv/soccermorning right now, fubo.tv/soccermorning, and start enjoying the best soccer from around the world at home and at work.
Welcome back to Soccer Morning on World Soccer Talk with Jason Davis.
We're back here on a Friday on Soccer Morning. Phone lines are open, 646-832-3909. Free Kick Friday, get in. Talk FIFA. I'm going to play some Sepp Blatter here in a minute. I want to take the opportunity to tell you guys, you got to check out Fubo TV, FUBO.TV. Awesome streaming service, beIN Sport, Gold TV, tons of soccer available. Go to fubo.tv/soccer morning, sign up. Check it out. It's pretty awesome. Gives you access to high quality HD streams of pretty much all the soccer you can handle. It definitely something a true blood soccer fan needs to have. Copa America, yeah. Copa America's coming up. If you want to be able to see Copa America, Fubo.tv is your best bet. So definitely grab that for that tournament. 2015 Copa America in Chile, especially since, hey, it's looking like we might not have a 2016 Copa America in the United States. By the way, has anybody mentioned that? Has anybody caught that? That the Copa America in 2016 is now under threat. Now, Sunil Gulati has told reporters, I think Sam Borden reported this on Twitter, Sam Borden from the New York Times. But when asked, Gulati said, the Gold Cup this summer, no problem. We're going to go ahead with that. It's not a big deal. That's happening. But that 2016 Copa America, that one we've all been looking forward to, the one that was supposed to be a mini World Cup for the United States that was going to drive so much interest and give the opportunity for the U.S. to prove themselves against the Titans of South America, might not happen. Looking pretty dicey. So thanks a lot to all of those corrupt individuals trading money, $110 million in bribes and kickbacks, rights fees for that tournament, ended up being the source of many a bribe. This is what pulled down Aaron Davidson, by the way. The man who is chairman of the board, or was, of the NASL, man who ran Traffic Sports USA, the man who was a driving force behind the creation of that league. There's a lot of opinion. That is a fascinating story to me. There's a lot of opinion out there on what this means for the NASL. I hope it doesn't mean a lot. I hope it means a bump in the road. I hope that this is just a footnote in the history of this league, and that NASL goes on and continues to be a strong, professionally run, quality soccer league that bolsters soccer across the country in the United States and Canada. I hope that's the case. I don't know that to be the case. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's, like I said, I think it's easier for NASL to say we're cutting ties with Traffic than for them to actually do it. And it may be a process that we don't see. It's behind the scenes, but might take a while. What's the status of the Carolina Railhawks, who are now suddenly untethered from Traffic, who technically owns them? How do you even do that? And will Traffic even be a thing? And what happens to all those television rights that Traffic has scooped up, again, through bribes in some respects, in some situations? Remember all those billboards you'd see for various Traffic properties during like CONCACAF matches? Well, those are going away. This thing has wide-reaching ramifications, and it's not just at FIFA in Zurich, where they're getting ready to do a presidential vote for a guy who has overseen all of this corruption and nonsense. All of those dirty, dirty shenanigans. It's not just there. It's here, too. It's in our backyard. It sits squarely on a base of American soccer because CONCACAF is closely tied with American soccer. It's based in Miami. You know that their headquarters have been raided. Aaron Davidson, Traffic, NASL, all connected. Sunil Gulati has done business with these people. Everybody has everybody has interacted with Chuck Blazer. Now, when people knew what they knew, I don't know. Can't say for certain, but you can't tell me that there weren't people high up in American soccer circles who didn't realize that Chuck and Jack were running a scam. Chuck and Jack were getting rich on the back of soccer in this part of the world. And they had plenty of people signing up to help them out with it. Apparently, one of them was Jeffrey Webb. Jeffrey Webb, a man who lived in Atlanta, ran CONCACAF, claimed he was a reformer, sat on the anti-racism committee at FIFA, was a FIFA vice president, and is now indicted. That has to impact American soccer. That has to have some impact on this. You want a palate cleanser? You guys want a palate cleanser? Totally taking that block call, by the way, Trevor. That block number. Scott in Alabama, what's up?
Hey, Jason, what's happening, man?
Oh, it's I find all this stuff fascinating. I feel like I have to cover it, Scott, but at the same time, like, can we just play some soccer and talk about that?
Right on, man. That sounds good. How about some good news then?
Okay, give me some good news.
Well, Birmingham, the heart of Dixie, Alabama, right? Soccer has never been that big of a deal down here, but there's a local group down here called the Birmingham Hammers, and they've got their first home game tonight, and I thought I'd call in and give them a shout-out.
Awesome. Yeah. You know, I've heard a little bit about the Birmingham Hammers. I may have been asked to, I don't know, share a tweet, or maybe if they may. I don't think they sent me anything, but I do remember. Yeah. I do remember seeing the logo, which I kind of like. I don't mind. Now, I don't think it absolutely has to have the soccer ball in it, but you are in Alabama, so maybe it does.
Well, they're playing Nashville FC at the I-65 Cup. We're trying to build something here in Birmingham, and I know the Hammers are doing a heck of a job trying to get a lot of momentum behind their club.
This is one of those. This is one of those fan created. I'm not sure that this is like one of those teams that crowdsourced for funds and memberships, but they definitely a bunch of guys got together to start this team, right?
Yeah, that's exactly the story behind it. And they've been around for a couple of years, and this year they held tryouts. They had a couple hundred folks come out and try out for the team, and they just got a bunch of local guys that are out there kicking the ball around, and it's actually refreshing. With all the big corruption on the national scene and the big international scene, it's nice to see the local soccer doing
that's good. I hope something good comes out of this. I hope Birmingham goes and becomes a much bigger deal. I'll tell you, Scott, I lived in Alabama for a couple of years in two different stints, actually, and I hate to say this, and I'm hoping Birmingham. I was in Montgomery, so I wasn't in Birmingham, but Alabama killed my love of soccer as a kid. Unfortunately. I moved. I had been playing soccer. I loved soccer. I moved to Alabama. Maybe I got signed up with the wrong team. Maybe it was my parents' fault. But I get signed up with a team. It wasn't nearly to the standard I was used to, and I said, all right, enough of this, and I moved on. But hey, I'm back. I'm here, and I think Alabama's different now. I hope Alabama's different now, and I hope Birmingham has success.
Yeah, Birmingham, Alabama as a whole, but Birmingham in particular is a completely different place than it was 20, 30 years ago.
That's very good. That's very good. I appreciate the call, Scott. Best of luck to the Birmingham Hammers tonight against Nashville. Thanks, man.
Right on. Thanks, Jason.
There goes Scott. That's a good diversion from what we were talking about there. Of course, I can't. I got to come back to FIFA, and I got to come back to Sepp Blatter, and I got to come back to all of these issues because they are so pervasive and so overwhelming in terms of the news cycle. They're just it's just so much, and again, it trickles down. It hits CONCACAF, it hits U.S. Soccer, hits the NASL. On some level, you have to imagine it hits MLS. Now, that doesn't mean I'm saying anybody in MLS is corrupt necessarily, but again, these are all people that every figure or every league has done business with, or been party to, or had a discussion with, or organized something with, and all of that. So it's all mixed up together. Again, you're not going to indict somebody for guilt by association. But you have to consider that this is all of these people have been working in the same circles for the past 30 years. And that's troubling on some level. And it makes you wonder if there should be more outrage in U.S. soccer circles over what's happening with FIFA and with CONCACAF especially. Should people in U.S. soccer, and I'm not talking about, I'm talking players, I'm talking coaches, I'm talking administrators. Should they be out there right now saying this is ridiculous, this is a travesty, we need to do something? Take ownership of the game in this part of the world rather than being led around by the tail, which is the way it feels right now. All right. 646-832-3909. We're being bombarded. There's a campaign here. There's a campaign from West Virginia. You people need to get some lives. Seriously. What the hell? I love it. Let's play some Sepp Blatter here. It's like I said, this is a 9-minute speech. I'm going to cut to a portion that is directly about Sepp addressing what's happened in Zurich and the indictments by the FBI and the DOJ.
I know many people hold me ultimately responsible for the actions and reputation of the global football community.
Damn right we do.
Whether it's a decision for the hosting of a World Cup.
Yes.
Or a corruption scandal.
Yes.
We, or I, cannot monitor everyone all of the time. If people want to do wrong, they will also try to hide it.
Unbelievable. Sepp essentially saying, you can't stop people from being bad, therefore it's not my fault.
But it must fall to me to bear the responsibility for the reputation and well-being of our organization and to find a way forward to fix things.
Damn, yeah, it is, but I
will not allow the actions of a few to destroy the hard work and the integrity of the vast majority of those who work so hard for football.
I can't take any more of that for now. Maybe we'll come back to it. Sepp Blatter again. This is. I'll go back to the. This part is great. The very beginning of this speech, when he steps up to the lectern, and he's addressing the gathered FIFA dignitaries, and I use that word in quotation marks here. This is what he says.
I must stress that those who are.
Oh, I didn't go all the way back. Let me restart this.
Dear friends in football, wasn't that a parade?
Wasn't that a parade?
Dear friends in football, wasn't that a parade?
Wasn't that a parade? The parade of what, Sepp? People with their hands out? People taking money out of soccer for their own purposes? Greedy people? Corrupt people? Let's not act like, I mean, you know, the FBI, Department of Justice says that they're not done. I hope they're not. I hope that's not bluffing. Because you know there's more. You know there are others who could be taken down by this investigation. And to see the individuals that have already been arrested and indicted, to see that group is to see just the surface. The most obvious, again, go down the list. We all knew this. Maybe we didn't have the proof. Maybe we didn't have an investigation to back it up. But we had story after story. I mean, Jack Warner was first accused of wrongdoing in regards to his job in 1990. This is a man who took money out of the pockets of players from Trinidad and Tobago who made the World Cup and were the smallest nation to ever do so. They still haven't seen that money. Jack just took it. He's the most obvious. He's the most obvious guy. Now he was banned last year because of his part in that cash handout when Mohammed bin Hammam was running for FIFA president. So he's out. But he's still connected. And all of there were people within FIFA who had ties to Jack Warner. They all have ties to everybody, but ties to Jack Warner, ties to these scams, ties to kickbacks and bribes that just maintain their jobs. Unbelievable. I'm sorry. Let's change topics. Dan in Washington, what's going on?
What's going on, buddy?
You want to switch things up for me? What are we talking about?
I want to talk about the Sounders' run of form, specifically the first half of that midweek game. I know you kind of talked about Papa's goal yesterday, but they had a stat of like 76% possession, and in the first half.
Mm-hmm. I know. Insane. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just saying, what do you think that's saying, how they switched form from that running gun style to this more possession-based? That's like just one-touch passing. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think it's sort of dictated by your opponent, right? I mean, they're obviously capable of possessing the ball, and for all of the defensive strength that they provide, Pineda and Alonso are great at that. Did they both start in that game? I'm trying to recall. It's been a crazy couple.
No,
of days.
It was
Andy Rose.
It was Marshall and Scott. And Andy Rose and Roldan.
Right. Marshall did not start that game. Brad Evans and Scott were, yes. Roldan on the right, Roldan in the midfield, but on the right, and then obviously Andy Rose played the midfield. I mean, look, you have a certain set of personnel who may be better at that. But again, I think that was partly a matter of Colorado not being a team that was going to press the advantage on the road in Seattle. I think Colorado's the type of team that comes in going, man, maybe we keep them off the board and get a 0-0 draw and go home with a point. So that there's something to this, to the talent and the ability of Seattle, but there's also something to the lack of initiative from the Rapids in that game. But I think what we've seen is that Seattle can play that way if they want to. I mean, this is the same thing with, I think they're very much Galaxy-like in that we've seen Bruce Arena teams destroy teams on the counter, play defensive first soccer, and then destroy teams on the counter, especially during the Landon Donovan days, and then switch modes and start passing the ball around the park and dominate teams that way. It just indicates that you're a good team.
Gotcha. Thanks, man. Just wanted to get the topic off of FIFA.
How you feeling? How you feeling about I mean, obviously they're playing well, but how do you feel about this year versus last year, Dan?
It's early. The Evans experiment is going well. I like it. I'm a little fearful for later in the season just because that's, we're Seattle fans and that's what we get used to. So, I'll see when it's all out. So I just like it. So it's been a good season so far.
Okay. Appreciate it. First place in the West. Can't do better than that right now. But maybe a couple points to lead would be nice. Thanks for the call, Dan. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Yeah. 646-832-3909. As we move on, and again, this is going to dominate the news, and it probably still will, even after the election, to a point. Like I said, we may move on quickly if Blatter wins. Because who's going to want to waste any more emotional energy on FIFA if Sepp Blatter just wins another term? Especially since we don't know if and when any more arrests and indictments are coming down. So maybe you're just looking forward to the weekend when you can actually watch some soccer, when there's actually games on. I mean, there are some good games coming up. The FA Cup final is a magnificent scene. I would expect Arsenal to win that game, but you never know. Aston Villa could step up and shock them. It's happened before. Wigan beat Manchester City. No one saw that one coming. Sporting Kansas City and Dallas, tonight's game. I am scheduled to do Rabble TV for that. So look out for that. I'll tweet the link, Davis JSN. We'll put it on Soccer Mornings feed, Backheels feed, all over the place. Whatever you follow. You really should be following all of them. Well, whatever you follow, make sure you're paying attention for that. I am the alternative to MLS SAP. I wish it was BSS or BSSAP tonight, but it's not going to be. DC United Philadelphia tomorrow. Orlando, Columbus. Decent game there. Two teams who like to play, like to attack. Chicago, Montreal. Montreal looking for a third consecutive win. Colorado visiting Portland. I'm sorry, hosting Portland. Seattle hosting the New York Red Bulls. So that should be a decent one on Sunday. And then New England and LA is the finale on Sunday. So a rematch of the MLS Cup final from last year. A game I attended was very close. Maybe New England can get some revenge in that match. They're hosting L.A. Jermaine Jones avoiding suspension despite making contact with the referee. That's a little surprising. I hope that's not star treatment. I don't understand how you're not suspended for making contact with the referee. That's a flat out no. You don't do that. And to see Jermaine Jones avoid suspension, not cool. He shouldn't get special treatment because he's a DP. He shouldn't get special treatment because he's a U.S. international. He shouldn't get special treatment because he's Jermaine Jones. 646-832-3909. Hit me up with anything you got. Anything at all. Let me just review what I've written down here. Jack Warner leaves the Port of Spain jail in an ambulance because he claimed he was exhausted and couldn't answer questions. Maybe he was ill, maybe he wasn't. He's a pretty old guy. Seems mean to say that he might have been faking it, but it's Jack Warner, so he might have been faking it. Police confirmed a bomb threat at FIFA headquarters this morning. So woke up to that news. Now, apparently none of the delegates or the reporters on the scene knew about the bomb threat, which means police obviously didn't take it seriously, or they did some sort of sweep and decided that the building was clear. But there was a bomb threat called in regards to the FIFA headquarters. One of the other things that came out of the investigation by the FBI, mentioned by Loretta Lynch at the press conference on Wednesday, was allegations that Nike may have been involved in bribery when it came to getting the 1996 Brazil kit contract. Now, Nike has issued a statement saying that they are innocent and nobody there has done anything wrong, but that's kind of a bombshell. It's kind of a bombshell. Ooh, Edward on Twitter. I'm hoping a result of the efforts of the FBI is that Sunil gets taken down. Wow. Is that how people feel about Sunil Gulati? I'm not saying the guy's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but that's interesting. He is backing Prince Ali in today's election. So he at least has that going for him, which is nice. We can talk Liga MX final. Ray in Milwaukee, 5-0 to Santos. Yeah, that's right, Santos. I think this is over, right?
Yes, I do. I think it's over. But I would also say that, I think that this playoff system this year more than any has been highly entertaining. Many games with high scoring affairs, and if you look at the teams that were in the finals, that these were low seeds. These were teams that barely made the playoffs on the last day. And I would also say that Ronaldinho has been a massive commercial success. And he has been able to, I would say, show flashes of brilliance and also give the Spanish language fan the telenovela story to go along with it.
Yeah, Ronaldinho and Querétaro in the final against Santos in the first leg last night. And Jonathan Bornstein, obviously part of the story for Querétaro, and he scored the goal that put Querétaro through to the final. And then they show up and Santos promptly beats them down 5-0 with a second leg to come. It seems like a foregone conclusion. That's got to suck for Mexican football fans and just the casual fan, Ray. If you wanted to see some drama in this final, because it's a two-leg situation. You got to sit through another 90 minutes or make the decision of whether or not you want to sit through another 90 minutes.
Yeah, that is true, but I mean that was a 5-goal affair in one of the games. This next game may be boring and it might not be higher than the watch, but I think that the ratings are going to be high just because it's going to be probably Ronaldinho's last game in Mexico for the Mexican soccer. And I would argue that I think players like Jonathan Bornstein, I think has done. I don't think that MX has been able to do a phenomenal job of captivating some of the fan base that is non-traditional Mexican. I think sometimes we look at it from the perspective of that only Mexicans watch Liga MX, but when they bring in these players from the United States, and they bring in these world players like Ronaldinho, I think it appeals to a much more broader audience, and I think that's one of the reasons why you explained that Querétaro's games have been so highly viewed.
Yeah, you know what? I think Liga MX has done a better job recently in the last couple of years of trying to branch out, go beyond the Mexican player. Certainly the Mexican-American player is a way to do that, but as you said, Ronaldinho is a way to do that. I'll be interested to see if they do more in that area. I mean, sort of the DP style player. I mean, there's more money there. You're not looking at the same mechanisms, of course, but a player like Ronaldinho who can bring something commercially, also maybe still add something on the field, who can bring attention. You know what I'll say, Ray, is I wanted to watch that game last night. Now, ultimately, I don't care because it was 5-0. It was probably it was entertaining for the number of goals Santos scored, but not a good game dramatically. I was disappointed that I couldn't find it. I don't have it now. I guess I have to buy a Spanish language tier to get Azteca America, which. I mean, I would think that a more available network might step up and buy the rights to the Liga playoffs and get this game on a channel I can see. I mean, why isn't this game on Univision? Why isn't this game on? I mean, I know Azteca America just paid the most money, but that frustrated me.
Well, it's they're able to farm their own television package. That's very weird because in Milwaukee, you get 2 Spanish language television stations over free television.
Yeah.
So Azteca America and Telemundo are broadcast over free television.
I think I only
over free air.
Yeah, but I think I'm on DirecTV. I don't have rapid ears. I'm not, but in terms of my basic package, for whatever reason, Azteca America is not included in it. Only Telemundo is, and I don't know why that is. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. So I don't. Yeah, I don't know why either. My sister lives in San Diego, and she gets all these channels for free over free television.
Sure. Well,
So,
it occurs to me, and I want to watch more. I mean, look, I've got a lot of soccer in my life already, Ray. I don't know if I really have room for anybody else, but I'm willing to try. But it occurs to me that I more often than not have to stumble onto Liga MX games, or I have to watch Twitter and somebody has to tell me it's on, and I go to that network. It seems like the product in the United States, and I know people watching millions and millions of viewers. It seems like it's awfully spread out, and if it was a little bit more centralized, if we could talk about 2 or 3 channels rather than the 4 or 5 or whatever that have it now, or just maybe 1 or 2, that it might be more maybe more popular with guys like me. I have very limited Spanish. I'm willing to watch games in Spanish, but I have very limited Spanish, and it makes it tougher for me to find the games because of that.
yes, I would agree with that to an extent, but I also agree that these are the stations that the Spanish language fan is very familiar with, and that I think that they get to watch their team every week. I think one of the popularities of if you just had less networks showing it, you wouldn't be able to get every game every week. And what's one of the great things about Liga MX is you can follow a team like Querétaro throughout this whole season, which has historically been a yo-yo club in Mexico. And so you've been able to watch all their games if you chose to watch Querétaro. Unlike MLS, where if you only have 3 networks, and so you're probably only going to watch your team play maybe once or twice a week, a month.
Yeah. Ray, I'm going to move on. Appreciate the call, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Yeah.
There goes Ray in Milwaukee. Let's take a turn and talk to Tim in Brooklyn, who wants to talk about Haji Wright at the New York Cosmos. What's up, Tim?
Hey, man. Yeah, like Sepp Blatter, I have team spirit, so no FIFA talk. Haji got on field in the U.S. Open Cup, and it was just sub in last 15 minutes, but there is good reason to be excited about him. He looked great. He got, I think, his first or second touch on the ball. He got drew a penalty. Kid looked great touch, fast, and really looked like he had, on the field and talking to media afterwards, like he's got a good head on his shoulders, and I can't wait to see him move on to more first team.
I hope this move works out, Tim. I hope this move works out not only for Haji Wright, who's a talented kid, but for the New York Cosmos. I mean, I have no problem at all with the notion that some of our young American players can go and grow at clubs in the NASL or USL or wherever it needs to happen, whatever their best situation is. I mean, we had a kid who came out of the University of Maryland and was fairly highly prized that signed with the Austin Aztecs, despite maybe having an option to go at a higher level. So I'm perfectly
playing
good
time.
with this. Yeah, absolutely. Playing time matters. Playing time matters, and I hope Haji Wright gets some. That's it's good to hear.
Hopefully he'll get. I don't know if it'll happen, but hopefully down in Cuba he'll maybe get a start. He looks like he deserves it, and I've been wanting us to have some more height and speed, and he brought it. So we'll see. Exciting times, and hopefully he stays here too. There was a lot of talk about him going to Germany, but why? To sit on the bench? Why sit on the bench in Germany or whatnot?
I appreciate the call, Tim. Thanks a lot. Back to the Liga MX stuff. I realize. Thanks for the information, August. I appreciate it. I do realize that TV rights for Liga MX teams are individually sold based on the home team. So he's telling me Univision holds the rights to Club America, Chivas, Pumas, Cruz Azul, Veracruz, Leones, Atlas, Monterrey, Tigres, Jaguares, and Toluca. And then Aztec America has Santos, Puebla, Querétaro, Morelia, and Tijuana. Right. I realize that that's the issue. I mean, I'm just bemoaning the fact that that's the way things work and that I can't see that the things aren't centrally. Now, if that benefits the teams, that's great. It's fine. It just means that everything's more spread out than it otherwise might be, and it makes it tougher for somebody like me. Again, and thank you, Washington, pointing me to livesoccer.tv, which I should definitely check out more often. I appreciate that as well. All right, let's go to Jerry in Rhode Island before I get to Rick. Let's go to Jerry in Rhode Island. He's got some Liga MX chatter as well. What's up?
Hey, it does have to do with Liga MX. Is mainly tying it into MLS and parity. I find it strange because, like in Liga MX, I looked it up in the past decade or so. They've had so many different champions in Liga MX, and I just find it strange. I find like the argument, especially with the collective bargaining that happened earlier this year. I think the argument is less about.
Where'd you go? You with me, Jerry?
I don't think with the playoff system, I don't think there's just going to be one team winning all the time. And even with the system that is, today, like LA Galaxy has won so many different championships in the past decade or so.
Right.
So I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any salary cap at all, but I feel like it was just kind of frustrating to see how limited, unambitious the owners were this time around with the bargaining. So I just thought it was strange because they don't have that kind of cap in Liga MX, and I don't see like one team running away with everything every year.
This is true. You make a point that the system can correct itself, but I think that there are some rumors that things may be coming down the line from MLS in regards to freeing up some money for teams to use. I hope that's true. I really do. I think that MLS has been completely unambitious when it comes to this stuff. Now, you don't want to spend your league into oblivion, but you have to take, especially if your rhetoric is going to be climbing that ladder, first being the best league in the region, and then being one of the best leagues in the world. You have to spend the money. There's just no other way around it. I mean, you can bemoan the fact that money buys quality, but that's just the way things are. That's how life works. I mean, the more money I spend on my car, the nicer my car is going to be. It's just the way things are.
That's true. Yeah. I had one more thing too. So that's okay.
Go ahead.
I don't know if you saw the article yesterday about Scotiabank and that they were considering pulling out of CONCACAF Champions League because of the whole controversy with CONCACAF.
I saw somebody mention it on Twitter, but I didn't read the story, so fill me in.
Yeah, no, pretty much. That's they didn't decide to pull out yet, but they're just considering it because of the shadiness that's going on, which they have every right to. But I just feel like it would be a real shame, because I feel like this tournament has finally been getting some traction, and people are starting to take it seriously. And at least, I feel like this is the next big thing, I think, for the region, is for, if the bigger MLS gets, and if it gets to the level of Liga MX, I feel like Champions League is going to be a big deal. When the Mexican teams and MLS teams start taking each other seriously, it's going to be a huge thing. And if this Scotiabank thing, if they pull out as a sponsor, this is going to really set the whole region back, I feel.
Yeah.
But
you might be right, Jerry. Appreciate the phone call. I'm going to get to Rick in Philly. In fact, Rick, you're on the line now. I'm just taking a look at the FIFA Congress. Let's hear what. Hey, Rick, before you go on, let's hear what Sepp's saying right now.
And here he has asked specifically for the Congress.
Okay, I can't take any more of that. No, I'm kidding. Right now, actually, FIFA and the FIFA Congress is considering, or they were going to consider, a motion to have the Israeli FA banned based on some allegations by the Palestinian FA that Israel was restricting footballers from their country, exhibiting racism, et cetera, et cetera. The motion has been pulled by the Palestinian FA, so there will be no vote on this, and Israel will remain part of FIFA and not suspended. But it doesn't look like there are good feelings. Apparently, the Israeli FA president was speaking and was offering to shake hands with the Palestinian FA president, and he refused. So there you go. That's fun times in Zurich. What's up, Rick?
Hey, Jason, how you doing? Not the same Rick from Philly you used to talking to, but I'm just happy to talk to you in general.
All right, cool. Go ahead.
Okay, speaking of Steph, I have a theory on Steph. I think he really was oblivious to what was going on in FIFA. I'm starting to kind of believe that after listening to him talk about it and what Jeremy Schaap said.
You think you really think he was oblivious? I think he is willfully oblivious. I think he chooses not to find out and chooses not to know and didn't sit there. I think he wants to cocoon himself in plausible deniability, but he knows. Come on.
Here's what I think happened. I think he's sitting in his office in Zurich. The secretary comes to him and says, "Hey, Jerry down in the office is taking money. You should go talk to him." He goes, "Okay, Jerry, my good friend, my long time advisor, are you taking money?" "No, Steph, I'm not taking any money." "Jerry, I trust you for many years. I believe you." And then he walks away. I think that's what happened. I think that's what he's doing. I think it's
okay. Well, I'm
not saying I could be wrong, but that's what I think is going on.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting take, Rick. I can't buy it. Thanks for the call, man. I can't buy it at all. I think Sepp is at least aware that people are profiting off of the back of soccer, chooses not to do anything about it because those people in many cases are his support system. And he needs that element to do what he wants to do, which is spread the gospel of the game, win a Nobel Prize, be this Robin Hood of soccer on some level. Jeff in Orlando, what's up?
Hey, Jason, how are you this morning?
I'm good, man. It's Friday.
Yeah, I got you. I got to change the subject from the FIFA stuff because it's just too maddening. Kind of off the wall, but what are your thoughts on the Portland Timbers and Caleb Porter and the job that he's done up there?
My personal opinion is that the clock should be ticking on Caleb Porter right now. In my mind, I don't think he's delivered what they wanted from him. And more than that, there's a baseline of expectations in Portland that hasn't been met. They have enough talent to win more games. They're not getting that done. He's chosen to abandon his commitment to a certain style of soccer, which is part of the reason he was hired. And if he's going to do that, and I've said this before, if you are no longer the golden boy of tiki-taka American style and you're not winning enough games, how can your job not be in jeopardy?
I had really high hopes for him when he left Akron. I never followed his career in Akron, but then, obviously he was kind of a high profile hire with Portland and the style that he played, and I had really high hopes potentially for him being a national team head coaching candidate in the future.
A lot of people
I love
did.
the style. I watched him play. Yeah.
It's a I think it's a shame, actually. I don't know that he can't be a successful MLS coach or a successful professional coach, or a coach of professionals. But I think it's a shame that he has chosen to go back on that commitment because he's been cowed by MLS. I think we need people in this league who are committed to playing attractive football. We don't need everybody playing that kind of soccer, but we do need some people to be committed to that in order to help push the league forward and give some variety to MLS. Frankly, we spent about 15 years dealing with kick and rush soccer. We finally get, RSL coming through with something different. We get Portland coming through with Caleb Porter and a commitment to something, and then he backs down. And I know he doesn't see it that way. I think he sees it as a development in a learning process, and there is something to that. You have to learn how to be a coach. You have to learn that practicality matters sometimes. But again, if they were winning games with this practical idea, that would be one thing. But they're not. They're not winning enough games for him to be now without that cloak of aesthetic soccer covering him up anymore.
Yeah, I would imagine that he blamed I don't follow them, the papers from a day to day, but I'd imagine that he blamed the injuries. I mean, if you lose the guys like Diego Valeri and probably to a lesser extent Will Johnson, then you're not going to be able to play the style that you want. Sure. But I agree with you. I've just been disappointed the last couple of years. Last year they had just game after game with defensive breakdowns, and they probably made up for it with Matt Bortris. So I really thought this year they might get back to that style that was so attractive. And then they've had injuries, and they just haven't gotten there. So I'm beginning to wonder whether maybe he's not the coach that I thought he was, or maybe MLS is really just burying him in terms of the style that you have to play to get results.
Well, there's some responsibility. Thanks for the call, Jeff. There's some responsibility on MLS and certainly on the referees for the way that the league is officiated and the way that the style is allowed to play out. I'd like to see an MLS that does move in the direction of more protection for creative players, less physical play, and maybe we're getting there, but that's not entirely why Caleb Porter has, I'll not say failed, but not found the success we expected. Patrick in Colorado, what's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to, sorry, I'm going to take the conversation back to FIFA.
That's all right. Do that, man. Go ahead.
I think it's important. There was talk about Scotiabank earlier. I think it's really good that I heard that Suno Galati and the Canadian and Mexican Federation presidents were forming that committee. I think the Copa America thing is not. It may not happen, and I mean the important thing is to rescue the image of CONCACAF in the short run, and like whatever happens with Copa America is. I mean, I'm talking to my friends about planning to go to those games already, and I'm bummed if it doesn't happen, but. CONCACAF needs to be stabilized in a major way, and that's the most important thing for U.S. soccer.
I agree, absolutely. Yeah, that should be job one. I mean, go vote for Prince Ali today. And by the way, they're still going through this Palestine-Israel stuff. Just a live listen in here.
We are only working under FIFA statute. We want the respect of.
I don't know, a bunch of people blabbering on a microphone there in Zurich. Apparently, there's been some sort of dissent. Let's see, Palestine says it has made a full amendment by FIFA laws and wants a vote on the proposal. Blatter trying to limit which parts. So Sepp Blatter's already trying to limit what the body votes on when it comes to this Palestinian proposal to ban the Israeli FA. Sorry, go ahead if you got anything else, man.
I I don't. I think that's it. I wasn't following that Palestinian thing, but I guess they're in the middle of the sort of election parliamentary stuff.
Yeah, they're all they're in the middle of the Congress, and first they were addressing this. Right, Patrick, I appreciate the call. You are absolutely right about what needs to happen first in this part of the world. That is to stabilize CONCACAF, to find somebody to lead CONCACAF. And look, I don't want to paint with a broad brush and say that every football administrator that comes out of the Caribbean is bound to be corrupt. But we've had Jack Warner. Now we've got Jeffrey Webb, who's been indicted. Maybe it's time to kind of go outside of that. I don't know if it's Justin Campion who needs to step up, or Galati who needs to step up, or who's the guy up in Canada? I can't remember his name. It's Italian. It's tough to say. Robert in L.A., what's up?
Hey, good morning, my friend. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Robert.
Hey, I wanted to talk about the Under-20 World Cup that's starting this weekend.
Yeah, go ahead.
And earlier this week, you were talking about, and you were saying how the game's starting around midnight or 1 o'clock in your time. Well, that's on the East Coast. On the West Coast, they're going to be starting at 7 and 8, and I'll be watching them. So that's what's leaving on the West Coast is better.
That math does not work out, Robert, but if you're watching them, good for you.
All right. I know it's bad for you, but I just wanted to say that. And also, I couldn't call you yesterday, but you were asking about the Open Cup.
Yes.
I remember I was asking you about, my ranking idea on if you rank the teams that are still in.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yes, I do. Go ahead.
And I was looking at it, I was looking at the Supporter Shield, and right now, Seattle, they're number 1, and they're going to go against Portland. So it'd be like, you put Seattle number 1, and then you put Portland Timbers they're 13 right now. And my LA Galaxy, they're like number 6 right now. No, they're going to be going against PSA Elite, and I'm going to be going to that game. Okay. And I don't know. I think they're going to get to the very bottom, so you can live with them. Since they're the only amateur team, so just give them the last number. And so you said that we should all root for PSA Elite. No, I'm going to root for LA Galaxy.
Well, of course, Robert. I didn't expect Galaxy fans to flip on their team. I'm just saying that if you want the Cinderella, if you're one of those people, you want the Cinderella to come through, PSA Elite beating the LA Galaxy would be a massive story and a boon to the Cup. It would be bad for you. It would be very sad. I'm not sure Bruce Arena would shed any tears, but hey, that's the way things are.
No, I just see we win this one, and then we're gonna we'll get a cross country trip, and then that's when Bruce Arena will not care. Yeah, and then put up a C squad, and then that's how we're gonna lose. Yeah. But I just wanted to say that. I know you got other callers, but thanks for taking my call, Jason. Have a great day.
I appreciate it, Robert. Good one. Robert probably deserves a shirt number at this point. I should dump one on him. Landon in Salt Lake City, what's up?
Hey, Jason. Did I just hear there's a 7-hour time difference between the East Coast and the West Coast?
Something like that. I was very confused. I think we just sweep that aside and continue to move on with the show.
Yeah, no, Jason. Hey, anyways, first off, I want to thank you for this week. You guys have been a crazy week, haven't you?
It's been nuts, and I think we've I think we've done okay. I think we've navigated fairly well. You don't even understand, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, how difficult the guest booking stuff has been for Trevor. Everybody is busy. Everybody's been booked for 7 other things. All of the people we want to talk to are locked in somewhere else, or we run out of names, and it gets real difficult. But he's done a magnificent job, and this show notwithstanding, and it's been great because you guys have been calling. We've had some good guests this week.
Yeah, no, Trevor's done a great job. But anyways, I want to talk just a little bit about SEP. I know we've kind of beat that, horse to death for right now. But I just want to respond to what Rick from Philly said. He was saying that, I don't believe this, but thinking that maybe Sepp Blatter had no idea what was going on. But let's say that was the case. Does that matter? If he's that incompetent that he has no idea this corruption's going on, shouldn't he be out either way?
Exactly. He is either oblivious and doing a bad job, or he knows exactly what's going on and he's party to corruption and doing a bad job. Either way, he shouldn't have his job.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there.
Yep.
But changing topics a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about Salt Lake. Kassar, what do you think of him so far?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of him. I think he had a tough job following Jason Kreis. I think he had a tough job trying to remake that team a little bit. He obviously lost Garth Lagerwey after the first season. That makes it even more difficult. And I'm sure Craig Weibel's doing a great job, but they obviously are learning together how to do this thing. And I think it shows on the field. And I don't want to bury Jeff Kassar yet, but this isn't exactly where you would expect RSL to be.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where the blame lays on this, because there's been a lot of things this year. Lagerwey left, Qatar is new. They've had a ton of injuries, but it's just, at this point, it's starting to get frustrating. The game against LA on Wednesday was a joke. It was a complete joke. The game against NYCFC was great, and it was good to see Christ take that back at home here. But yeah, no, it's just getting rough. One thing that we've noticed quite a bit, and I don't even know to blame Qatar or not. But it's really interesting. You see these post-game conferences, and hate him, love him or hate him, Bruce Arena does a great job on talking straight in every post-game interview. Mm-hmm. If his team played terrible, he says that, and he owns up to it.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to think Qatar just we're getting just hammered every single game, and he comes out and says, "Oh, the guys did their best. They did their best. We just didn't have enough for it." When you're losing 4-0 at SKC, you can't just say, "Oh, we did our best, but we just couldn't pull it through."
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that's. Again, I think part of management, part of coaching a team is not just about putting out the best team and picking a formation and running them through training. It's about all of those other. It's about that media stuff as well. And you don't have to be good at it, but you absolutely have to project an image that the fans can get behind and that gives the sense that you know what you're doing. And sometimes, I think of David Moyes at Manchester United. He didn't have to deal with the same level of scrutiny at Everton, and when he got into that job at United, he looked like a deer in headlights when he had to answer questions. That didn't mean he's not a good coach. It just meant he couldn't handle that element. And I don't know that Qatar's anywhere, that's obviously not anywhere close to that level, but it's still new enough for him that he does have to learn the process.
Yeah, it seems like you just can't handle it. So anyways, that's all I got today, Jason. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Landy. Let's see if we might close out this show with Roberto on Sepp Blatter, who's, again, speaking right now. Before you get going, Roberto, let's just hear Sepp blabbering on here.
Israel on one side and Palestine on the other side. They will also apply.
Sepp apparently has been trying to get around this vote, in part because FIFA should not get involved in politics, blah, blah, blah. So this is interesting. You at least should consider the proposal. Roberto, what's up?
Yeah, I'm just calling him. I'm trying not to interfere with the vote announcement, actually. I was just watching to see if...
They're not there yet. They're not there yet. They're going to take a while. This Palestinian-Israel thing is still playing out. Now, apparently, the Palestinians have pulled their... I don't know what's going on, but there's been a handshake between the Palestinian and Israeli FAs and blah, blah, blah. So maybe we'll move on eventually. But right now, again, Sepp is sort of holding court. So go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching a bit of ranting there. I'm watching. I'm like, what is this? Is this the United Nations or something? Right,
exactly. They certainly hold themselves up to some pretty exalted standards. I mean, again, you're supposed to be managing. You're supposed to be governing the sport. You're not supposed to be patting each other on the back. I don't know. It is what it is. But go ahead. What else you got?
Yeah. I just have a quick question. In your honest opinion, I want you to be as PG as ever. If you had to meet Sepp Blatter face to face, what would you say to him?
I'd ask him directly if he had knowledge of the corruption that's rampant in FIFA, and when he said no, I'd say, "How is that possible?" I mean, and I would say to him, if that's the case, then you are terrible at your job, and if you did know what's going on, you are terrible at your job, and you shouldn't be in charge anymore. And I would, I suppose I would do what reportedly Platini did, although Platini comes from a different angle, and ask him to resign. I think that's probably what I would do.
Do you see UEFA breaking out of FIFA?
No. Ultimately, I think that's a big fat bluff. I don't know that there may be some sort of motivation within UEFA to do that, but I really don't think they're going to pull out. I think there's a lot of reasons for them not to, and it would take catastrophic events in order for them to do that. I mean, think of the reaction from everybody else if UEFA pulls out of FIFA, first of all, or just boycotts a World Cup. I mean, think about a World Cup without European nations, what that would do, what kind of damage that would do to the sport overall.
It'd be a mess of what it is already.
It absolutely would be. All right, man, you got anything else?
No, I'm good. I just hope that it goes the right way now.
Yeah, me too. All right, appreciate the call from Roberto. They're doing some handshaking and pennant passing and stuff on stage in Zurich. I don't know exactly what this is all about, but Sepp is waddling around like the Penguin up there, the villain that he is. And I think that's about it for this edition of Soccer Morning on WorldSoccerTalk.com. Thank you to everybody who called in. You guys did a brilliant job. Make sure you go to backheel.com/store to get yourself a Soccer Morning mug. It's very pretty. We have T-shirts over at 3nilfc.com. We've actually got T-shirts at Backheels as well, including a one that I wore earlier this week that's got Chuck Blazer emblazoned on it. That really, I didn't really mean it that way to say it that way. Blazer emblazoned, rocking a grill and a chain and just balling out. So thanks. Go check that out as well. Pick one of those up for yourself. Comes in many different colors, as a matter of fact. All right. Thank you again to producer Trevor for the work this week. Last couple of days have been hectic, but I think we've gotten through it. We got to go over and do the serious show. We've got that. Join us there. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. And also, Fubo.tv. Go check that out. Fubo.tv/soccer morning. See ya.